Welcome back to Live with Lighthouse, the show where we guide you to the talent, technology, and marketing solutions to drive your business forward. I'm your host, Joe Ray, and want to wish everyone a happy new year and welcome back to season 2 of this show. We're looking forward to a lot of great changes this year, looking forward to a lot of incredible conversations with people who are doing great work and shine a light on some of the work that they're doing. Really excited to be back with you all. Thanks to everyone who tuned into the first 21 episodes of the show during 2023. Really excited for some of the changes we have in store here. We're really excited for this new chapter of the show. Not only are you going to be able to catch Live with Lighthouse still on the Lighthouse Technology Services LinkedIn page, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube if you want to watch the video edition, and you'll get notifications every week of new episodes. And if you prefer the audio, you're going to be able to get new episodes of Live with Lighthouse wherever you listen to those. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, we'll be there. Really excited for what's ahead in this new chapter. And we're kicking off that new chapter with a great conversation for all the job seekers out there who are excited for that new year, new job mentality. Chad Witherell's joining us on the show this week. Chad's one of the recruiters at Forge Buffalo, which is the talent network arm of 43 North here, the startup incubator based in Seneca One in Buffalo. Chad and his team do a great job connecting job seekers to incredible technology jobs across the Western New York ecosystem. Really excited to dig into this conversation here. Hope you enjoy. Chad, so glad to have you on Live with Lighthouse here. Great to kick off the year, and glad you could take some time to chat today.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. This is my first ever interview, which is exciting. And obviously I've got to rep Bills gear on the Monday after a big win. So
yes, we are so excited. Bills playoff football. It's at home in Buffalo this week. Really looking forward to this. Just good energy. Looking forward to bringing that to the conversation here. So thanks for repping the Bills blue today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chad, maybe we could just start off. Could you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day with Forge Buffalo? What does your work look like? What parts of your work inspire you the most?
Sure. So, a lot of what we do, on a day-to-day basis. So myself and Carly Ortiz, my partner, and then Christian, who does a lot of the recruitment marketing on our team, our whole goal as a unit is to help the 43 North portfolio companies hire. So it really takes a few different forms. Our main focus, and the timing of this is really interesting too, because we have our Y9 cohort is moving into Buffalo tomorrow. So we're going to be really heavily focused on their openings right now. But essentially we are the hiring arm of those companies. So a lot of times, the seed stage, pre-seed stage companies that come into our startup accelerator, into our program are not fully staffed with HR teams or, recruiting people or anything like that. So we kind of serve that purpose. So, they might come to us from the ground up and say, hey, I need a product manager, but I've never hired that person before. And I don't even have a job description. So, part of our day-to-day could be generating those JDs from scratch. It could be sourcing candidates from, we've hired people off of the West New York Startup Slack channel. We have found people on LinkedIn, Indeed, obviously the talent network and Forge and what we have there too. So we've got a lot of different places that we go to find candidates. And it's really a mix of helping with recruiting ops, and the actual day-to-day sourcing, coordinating interviews, and really it's all customized to what the company's looking for. So some of them will have us run the entire process from end to end. Some of us just have us kind of advise here and there, or they might even get down the road with their own candidates and ask us, hey, do you know this person? Do you have any insight? Things like that. So the day-to-day is super fun and it's wide ranging, but that's kind of a high level of what it might look like on a given day.
Yeah, that's a great partnership you're able to have with those companies that are coming in too, both, kind of advising them along the way of the whole recruitment process. Like you said, the recruitment operations and being able to keep them on a good timeline of saying, hey, if you want to hire top talent, they're going to move fast. They're probably considering a lot of offers, really helping them from that perspective as well.
Absolutely.
Got to be a really rewarding role, and cool to see all the great companies that are coming to Western New York and relocating to Buffalo as part of 43 North. So that's really cool work that you get to do.
Absolutely. We're lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive in today and really talk more from the candidate perspective too, and kind of say, hey, if you want to find a job with some of these great startups or, really anywhere within the tech industry in Buffalo too, I'm really excited for where our discussion is going to go and how that's going to support job seekers out there.
That's the perfect segue there.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect segue too with the new year, and everybody's got New Year's resolutions, and some of them might be career focused as well. So lots of people out there, Chad, are probably setting goals and saying, hey, I want to either achieve a promotion this year, or for a lot of people, it might be, hey, I want to, find a new job that challenges me, fulfills me in a different way. And they might be on the job market looking for new roles. As a recruiter, what would be some of the ways that you'd advise job seekers to get really clear on their goals before they go start applying for jobs?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things that matter to people, right? So I would say just on an individual level, figure out what's important to you. That could be a new title for 2024. It could be increased responsibilities in some way. It could be even, a lot of people that might even want to make a lateral move if they want to go into a different kind of company, different industry, different culture, something like that. That might have some more upward mobility for them long term, even though that move isn't necessarily, it's not always linear. It's not always going to be like you to get this job and then you get the next. It's not necessarily always like that. So I would say figure out what's important, number one. And at that point, you're like, okay, I still want to make a move. What am I going to do? So what I would do from there is take a look at the resources we have. Obviously the talent network, like we talked about, like that we work in every day. It's actually one of the interesting things about our talent network in the way it's set up in Forge is you put in your LinkedIn profile and it's more dynamic. It's not like the old way where you just had to upload your resume and that's just like a static resume and it could be there for 3 years and outdated. So that's a good way to get yourself out there. That's like as part of a job seeker's toolkit, that would be one of the top things I would do is get on Forge. Get in the talent network, make sure that you're getting the drop that Christian sends out every Thursday. The newsletter keeps you current, keeps you abreast of what's going on. There are some other resources as well. I know Jack Greco has a great newsletter that many people may be familiar with, Buffalo Bridge. And then, I mentioned the Startup Slack channel before. Getting active in there, even if it's just, you don't have to be the most active poster in the world, but it's a good way to just keep a high level overview of what's going on. Jordan and the boot sector team, Zach, you'll see a lot of names in there that post more than others that kind of head that up. But you can make intros. So if you're new to Buffalo or you're considering moving to, I actually have a conversation coming up soon with someone that's might want to move to Buffalo, and we just put ourselves out there. If we see messages, we can DM people and say, hey, let's talk. So I would say if you put yourself out there on there, you are most likely going to be found by somebody, whether it's myself, Carly, or other recruiters in the area or different companies. I would say taking a look at that's a big part of that toolkit. Also, just the traditional job search stuff, LinkedIn, Indeed, just some of that like more low hanging fruit. Not that that's always going to be the most successful, but it's something you need to be aware of if you are going to be active in the job market. And one thing I always suggest to people is that they message someone, try to find someone else. If you apply for a position, you might find 2 or 3 people that look like they can help you in some way, whether that be an HR person, a recruiter, or just even a hiring manager. So you never know. It's just one other way to get yourself out there. But I would say kind of walking it back from, the beginning, again, figure out what's important, use your tools, use your resources, and put yourself out there. Those are really the most important things that you can kind of start with if you're getting out there.
Yeah, that's a great process to follow. Thanks, Chad. And I really want to go in on the putting yourself out there part too, because that's going to be tougher for a lot of people. Maybe if they haven't had as much direct interaction with recruiters and hiring managers outside of just the application process. It's a really cool thing to be able to see, working with recruiters on our team at Lighthouse, getting to know you and the rest of your team at Forge, really getting to know what that interaction and that relationship is like and the trust that's built over time. It's a lot deeper than what people might expect. Mm-hmm. That a lot of the times, I'll see people who first time they connect with a recruiter is, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me find one? That might not necessarily be like what's available mm-hmm. at the time, but in the spirit of that long-term relationship, what are some ways you think job seekers can connect effectively with recruiters and help them help you?
Absolutely. So again, right there, that's help them help you. I love that because it is true. Like stay in front of us, obviously, we have a lot going on, but everybody does. And we understand that, but stay in front of us. If you see something, and I always tell people this, every conversation kind of tee them up. Like when we're getting off the call, it's like, hey, as you go out into the search, as you continue your search, if you've been in it for a while, stay in front of us. If you see something, see a posting that we might have a connection to, let us know. Sometimes we can help like easily. Sometimes we can't. And if we can't, we'll tell you, but we can at least try. So I would say the number one thing, at least from my perspective, and I think Carly would echo this, but just stay relevant, stay in front of us. And again, I know it can be harder for some people if you're maybe you don't have that kind of introvert or extroverted
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that either, but we're super friendly people. We try, again, we try to make it as comfortable of a process in largely uncomfortable situations. A lot of people are struggling, and we try to be mindful of that, and just do our best to be empathetic and positive too, because it really is a case of if you are out there and you're doing the work and you're following up, and even if you're not successful on day one, we have had several situations where we've contacted people and maintained, like you said, long-term relationships over a few months, and beyond, and have helped people get jobs in different ways. So there's always a way at some point.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. I think that part that you mentioned in there about empathy is really important too, from the recruiter perspective and from the job seeker perspective. Obviously, if a job seeker is reaching out to a recruiter, understanding that they're, busy people and there's, managing communication right there. But then from the recruiter perspective too, we're really going through a time where there were tons of layoffs over the last, year and a half at all different types of companies. And there's lots of people out there who are, unexpectedly looking for
Sure.
jobs, and really, that's a difficult situation to navigate too. So recruiters are going to those types of job seekers, and that's a different type of search than if someone is comfortably employed and then, passively looking for jobs. It's a very different thing. I imagine it takes a lot of different kind of, skill sets and skills as far as emotional intelligence goes. What are maybe some of the experiences that have helped shape your approach as a recruiter to working with candidates, when they might be in different types of situations like that?
Sure. I mean, so for me, a lot of what I've been able to do in the past couple of years, working with the team at 43 North and Viaduct and Forge and all of that, it's more of a community than I've ever worked with in the past, in a way. So, in previous positions I've had, it might be, you're working for one company and you're a little more like, even maybe it's just a thing with the startup community here in Buffalo, but you felt like it was like you were just more doing one thing. But here, I feel like it is really part of a community. The team at Lighthouse, the teams that I work with, just the, again, boot sector, like I was talking about with the Slack channel. Like, there's so many people here that are trying to help, and just it really is a true community. So I think having that experience and knowing that you can go to people if you can help someone. Like, I know Claire from your team, we've sent people back and forth at different times. And I think between recruiters, even in different companies, between the people, like, there's just so much information sharing and willingness to collaborate. So I think that the experience doing that over the past, 2.5 years now, I think that I've really been more immersed in this community has been really awesome. And it's kind of, again, it's given me a lot of positivity about the market, because I think there's a lot of talented people that, even if they're in a tough situation now, could end up in a better situation in 2024.
Nice. It's definitely a city of good neighbors play right there. I love that, and just kind of the collaboration between different people and and whatnot throughout the community is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, maybe we jump in now to, we've talked about talent networks and Forge being an example of a talent network. And, these are things that, various, companies that help businesses with hiring might have. And, some larger companies might have their own talent network or talent community internally. I think these are things that are really, sometimes mysterious to job seekers as
Sure.
well, that they, there might be some stigmas around just uploading your resume and putting it into a database. And then you're going to get emails every day or every week with jobs that may or may not be relevant to you and things like that. I think there's a lot that goes into the Forge Talent Network and what your team has built. So I'm curious if you can share a little bit of how the talent network is structured for Forge, and what that looks like on the back end for you, and how you
Yeah.
support job seekers who are part of that network.
Yeah, absolutely. So the system. So if you're a job seeker and you're on there today, and you want to join, so you're submitting your information. Pretty much all you need is your name, your email, your LinkedIn, and you can join the talent network. You can express interest in different types of jobs. You can express interest in different types of companies. So, like, on the back end, we can see if someone's interested in X, Y, and Z. We can see if they're interested in a particular job. Like, sometimes, with considers the back end system that we work with, you know, with our companies, it can work a couple different ways. So if you have a careers page, like if you are Kick Further or Circuit Clinical or Kangaroo Time or some of our larger startups in our portfolio, they're going to have a careers page that you can go to their website, and it's like a traditional apply for jobs. And essentially the way that the database or the Forge is set up right now is where it's like a pass through. So if you see a job posted on there, it goes back to their website. Some of them, like with our new cohort, especially, if you're looking at StoreCash, Credit Academy, Guidesley, Stepwise, any of them, you are going to see like that it was posted directly from Consider by one of our team members. So myself or Carly or Christian. And then, we're gonna see that when your applications comes through, or the actual founder. So we're going to be in a process this week of light training, I would say, so the founders can see that, like they have access to Consider, they can see different projects, they can see different people, they can search. So you are very discoverable if you're in there. If somebody's looking for a particular skill set and you have it, like it's possible that you can get found. It's not, I unfortunately don't have a lot of science behind like how many times, with other companies, because again, it is a broader community mission.
Yeah.
It's not only 43 North companies, and for a job seeker, that's actually great, because not only do you get the 43 North companies in there, but you get like everybody else, the Jerry's of the world, Centivo, Air Expert, companies like that, they can also find you in there.
Nice. And again, going to the community aspect too, I think that provides a lot of value for job seekers to the curation of 43 North and an organization that's been around a decade now. Really provides a lot of trust for job seekers, knowing that, hey, the top tech companies in Buffalo are all going to be going here for some degree of connection and support. And then you'll see that in the form of jobs on the Forge Buffalo, on the talent platform and things like that. One thing I do want to double check on here too, Chad, you mentioned LinkedIn as well. And it's a platform that I'm very passionate about, and lots of us are passionate about as well. But, for some people who, are, whether they're in technology or HR, depending on the industry, they might not be on LinkedIn all the time too. Mm-hmm. And it might have been a while since they've updated their profile. And now here you are saying, hey, if you're going to apply to the Forge Talent Network, LinkedIn is a platform where, if you have all the information, your application can, be processed much more easily and whatnot. What do you have some tips that you typically give to job seekers? Maybe if they haven't updated in their LinkedIn in a while, sure, in order to be able to update that and connect with a platform like Forge effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Just and there are some like super basic things that are easy to do with LinkedIn. But yeah, you first of all is just having the presence. If you don't get one, I mean, I've advised students in high school, college, if they don't have them yet, get them as soon as possible. And make sure you have a photo. Make sure you have your jobs organized on there and your different skills or anything else. And, make sure that you just have your profile structured the way that it should flow, because the more information you have in there, the more skills that are in there, you're going to be able to be discovered. Like with our, in a LinkedIn recruiter account, like myself and Carly have, or a lot of other recruiters in the area, or even if you don't, even if you're just, maybe you're a founder at a non-43 North company that's doing a little recruiting on your own and you're just plugging things into LinkedIn, like the more relevant skills you have for a job, like the more you're going to come up in relevant searches as well. So I would just say have a basically simple, you don't have to do every single thing, but just having a robust enough profile that your skills are going to be showcased and that you can be discovered and that it's updated. Make sure your picture's current, make sure it's professional. Again, those kind of basic things. And we try to do that stuff too. Like, I know, Joe, you've been there and your team, and probably a lot of people listening to this, that'll be listening to this episode, have been to our events, the career fairs that we do 2 a year. We're going to have one coming up. I think it's going to be in March. I've talked to Christian about that, but yeah, so we've had, again, people like Claire from your team that do LinkedIn profile reviews, like for people in those things. We have headshot, we do free headshots. So those kind of things that are huge resources for people. We want to make sure that that's brought to the larger community and people know hey, this is how you should do it. And here's how we're going to try to help you in that direction.
Yeah, it's great to have those types of community events and, where people can get all that help in one place, whether it's a picture, a LinkedIn review, meeting with potential hiring teams and things like that. So really cool. Always enjoy the 716 Career Fair. And actually that segues really well, Chad, into my last question too, was talking about the value of some of those in-person events as well. And not just applying at home and being active on a platform like LinkedIn, but also getting out there and meeting recruiters and hiring teams and things like that at events. What's kind of the value that you've seen there as a recruiter being able to connect with job seekers at in-person events like that.
Yeah, those are huge, and that's another one of those great things where it kind of breaks down the walls between employers and employees a little bit more, where they're a good, again, paying attention to something like the drop that Christian sends out, that newsletter from the Talent Network, and then what you're going to see on Boot Sector like every Tuesday. And I think more and more people are understanding this, and they can go. But there's the West New York Open Coffee Club that here in the Seneca One downstairs. I think it's from like 7 to 9. People can just show up and meet other people and network, and it's just a really nice resource. There's events that we do as well. Like we've done the mastering events. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up in 2024. But so like our events that we do, again, the career fairs in addition to that, and then just other things we do like the Women in Tech meetups. So there's a lot of opportunities if you're paying attention and just keep a basic eye on what's going on. To get out there and connect with people. And we have, like, it does work. We've hired people that we've met at events, and have some really good recent examples of that as well. So a lot of times, there's a lot of people that I would love to be able to place that right, today, that maybe, again, it's a month or two down the road, hopefully we can help. But yeah, it's always good to show up and stay in front of us and just show up. That's because I keep going back to that, but that's like the number one thing. Just make sure if you can make it, go and you'll meet somebody good there.
Yeah. And that's a great way to pull a full circle there, Chad, is to see the whole, value of the relationship over time and, staying in touch and staying in front of recruiters and things like that. And a good opportunity for me to give a shout out to one of my friends, Cassie Kubiak, who
That's right.
Actually started networking with people in the 43 North Forge Buffalo system over the summer, and eventually found a job leading marketing for Twipes, who was in the Y8 cohort. So shout out to Cassie for doing a great job of staying top of mind and putting herself out there and finding an incredible opportunity. So
absolutely. Yeah. She's a great example. She's like one of the prime examples. So I'm glad we give her a shout out. Yeah. Cassie's awesome. And yeah, she's working with one of our Y8 companies, Twipes, and she's doing great over there.
Absolutely love to see it, Chad. So thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I'm going to ask you one more question actually here, Chad, before we go. One of the things I always like doing here to close out the show, in the spirit of one of our core values, be a lighthouse, which is all about helping people. Chad, I always like posing the question to the guests at the end of the show here. Would love to give you the opportunity to shout out someone who's supported you or helped you learn something new lately.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I have to go with my team, my teammates here, Christian Gaddis, and so him and I have been working together for a long time now, about 2.5 years. And our teammate Carly, she just actually returned from maternity leave last week, and so I'll include her in this too because she's awesome. And Christian, him, stepping in and doing a lot of things to help out while she was on maternity leave. And now her being back, it's like when she jumped back in, it was like she never even left. So just our team dynamic and just the willingness to help each other, like no matter what. And I think that's a big thing you'll see with the 43 North team. And, even some of my other partners that I work with on the Viaduct side as well. Like it's just no egos, just good people that are willing to step in and do what needs to be done. And I feel like that I provide that back to them as well. But it's nice to know that you're getting that support. And again, specifically to Christian, I know I mentioned a few other people in there, but he's the one I would say lately, is the best example of that.
Yeah, we love a great teamwork makes the dream work moment, and shout out to Christian there. And actually, I lied, Chad, because I actually got one more question I got to ask you before I let you go here. Bills Steelers in the wild card game this weekend. Need your prediction before we call it a show here.
I'm definitely going Bills. I've seasons. I have a couple friends that I have them with that are coming from out of town, so we have to show them a good time, obviously here. But so I'm going to go Bills. I'll give a bold prediction that Kyle Allen will get snaps at the end of the game. That'll be my nice. It's always fun to see the backup have to come in. So I hope that in a good way, without an injury, obviously. But yes. That's my, by the fourth quarter, I hope Josh Allen is getting some rest for the following week.
I hope so too. I remember fondly a couple of years ago going to the wild card game when New England was here in Buffalo, and it was 5 degrees. It was the most quintessential winter day that you could ask for. And it was a perfect game. Buffalo just touchdown on every single drive. So,
that was the most fun I've ever had in the stadium that day. So I remember it well.
Incredible game. I think it's gonna be a little closer. I think Pittsburgh's been picking it up on offense ever since they made a change at offensive coordinator, just like the Bills did earlier in the year. So I'm going to go 27-20 Bills. I think it's still going to be a close game. I think it's the kind of year that it's been, right? It's going to be a roller coaster game. But I think the Bills are going to pull this one out and keep on going in the playoffs.
Agreed.
Thanks so much. Chad, really appreciate you coming on Live with Lighthouse. Thanks so much for joining us, and really appreciate your expertise and know it's going to help a lot of people out there. So thank you.
Thanks, Joe. It was really nice talking to you today. And we're always here to help. And hopefully if anyone sees this and wants to connect, feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Chad. Thanks again to everyone who tuned in to watch this first episode of season 2 of Live with Lighthouse with Chad. Hope you're inspired and ready to take on the new year. And we hope you'll subscribe and follow along to tune in to all of our content throughout the year. Really excited as well. I'm going to send a shout out to my coworker, Claire Stroh, and her new series, Claire Shares. If your HR team is looking for exciting bite-sized conversations around talent acquisition, attraction, and retention, Claire Shares is going to be the place to go. So I'll make sure to leave a link in the show notes as well to check out Claire's new series. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.